IPMNation.com.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us here at IPMNation.com, just seconds away from launching over on Facebook. But I want to thank you for being a valued listener here at IPMNation.com and Mortal Up Radio. Here we go.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Welcome, and thank you for stopping by this evening, particularly rainy evening here in Columbus, Ohio. But thank you for stopping by the 273rd episode of The Gong Heard Round the World here on IPMNation.com. Thank you so very much for joining us. It's been a long weekend, and we're excited to be back with you here in the Garden of the Mortals, here inside of All Natural Being. Broadcast, as I said, where it happens, from rainy Columbus, Ohio, with Facebook live video. Also, you can catch the rebroadcast on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Greetings wherever you are here in the Garden of the Mortals. Top of the day to the very best parts of you. The labyrinth of life itself. This right now, today, this moment is your shot at running at a table. That's why we're always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list. Why we're always placing your primal scream front and center in your life. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wisdom of your inner wit. The true wisdom of your inner whisper. Because it's time to reboot your robust, to find your ferocious, to outbrutal the brutal in the cut and shuffle that fate deals you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all. But before we hit it this evening, hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends from Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, and France, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands. To those joining us from all over the globe, it's great to have you with us and to have your support. Thank you for making us, not only here at IPM Nation, what we're doing at IPMNation.com, but thank you for helping to propel us. We grow every week in numbers at IPM Nation and also here on Facebook. So thank you very much. I truly am fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your biggest fan, to be avidly you. So as always, let me ask you, are you tired of being institutionalized by the intentions of others? Convicted by the constructs of another? Reprimanded to a prison of rhetoric, yours or someone else's? Well, I was too. And that's why it's time. I say every day, it's time to mortal up. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And again, just thank you for everything that you've done to help propel us to be not only the number one show here on IPM Nation. We've got a lot of cool things to talk about that we'll be doing there too, but also in what you've been able to do and what you're helping us to do to grow in our numbers on Facebook and everything else. So thank you so very much for your support. I truly appreciate it. And I wanted to talk this evening, before I hop here in the thread, I wanted to talk about this whole concept. Someone said to me the other day, well, what happened? What has happened, do you think, for most people? What has caused them to capitulate? What has caused them? And if you can mention it, what is that thing that they can do to no longer be slapped around by fate? And I remember saying in the conversation, well, there is a magic bullet. And the person was like, well, what is that magic bullet? What can we do? And ultimately the magic bullet, so as not to be imprisoned by fate, to be able to out-brutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate tries. Don't forget, fate, it will try to corrupt your vision of yourself at every turn because it makes it easier to handle you. But what's the magic bullet? What's the mental self-defense that you and I can use against fate? Remembering who you ultimately are. And that's what we're going to talk about this evening. What's it going to take for you to remember who you ultimately are? Not just my opinion, not just your opinion, but ultimately who you truly are. And what's it going to take, maybe more importantly, to stop running away from that definition of who you truly are? All right, let me say hello to Janile. Janile, good evening. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I thought I saw a picture of, did something crash through the window of your car? I hope all's well. Candace, nice to see you as well. Hello? Absolutely. I would agree. Now let me get back in here to figure out how I say that, what I do here. Oh, there you go. So this evening, that's what I thought we could talk about. What are those things that we can do that will aid us in the recovery of the memory of who we ultimately are? Because that makes us untouchable. Though fate will do everything it can, which is why I like the term fate's nemesis. Fate will do anything it can. Lisa, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Fate will do anything it can to derail you, to give you that sense, as I've said before, that sense of amnesia, the philosophical amnesia, to where you don't recall that you are that magic bullet, that everything you've ever needed, you've always had. When it comes to being happy, when it comes to being tied in, when it comes to being ultimately in control of the things that happen to you, everything you've ever had, you've had it all along. I guess I should say everything you've ever needed, you've always had. So don't let fate corrupt you, and stop running away from who you ultimately are. And that's the focus of tonight's show. How can we all become fate's nemesis? How can we all get to the point where we go, I'm just not going to take their crap anymore. I'm just not going to let it happen. All right, if you give us a chance, give us a call. Our toll-free number, 833-GO-BU. That's 833-462-3968. 833-GO-BU. Love to take your calls. Hear what you're thinking about. Henry, good evening. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. We're talking about how to not be, everyone says, oh, a slave to fashion. Good evening, Henry. Hope you and Rita are well. We're talking about being a slave to fashion. We've heard that term, a slave to fashion. Well, this evening we're talking about being a slave to fate. There you have it again. 1-833-GO-BU. 1-833-462-3968. And the question is ultimately, what will we do? In terms of that mental self-defense, what will we do to remember who we ultimately are? Remember the natural resources that we already possess. Right? Our grit, our agility, our stamina. And I've been thinking a lot about it. You hear this thing and you look at the economy, you look at the ecology of the world, and everyone's always talking about growth. Growth, 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 growth. No one seems to be particularly fond of where they are in this particular moment in all of time. It's all about growth. Got to have growth. Got to have more, more, more. And every time I hear positions like this, it always makes me think, well, just restore your more. The more that you're looking for, you've always had. It's in you. But what if it isn't? Let me say good evening to Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us at All Natural Being. What if it isn't about growth? What if it's about grit? What if it's about, maybe it's not about growth. What if it's girth without the growth? What if it's expanding this particular moment in all of time? Ultimately, when we talk about our 20-minute victories, what can I do right now for the next 20 minutes to put my heart's highest priority top of my list. And it's my belief, is if you listen to the show, it's my belief that, that the universe sits up and takes notice. And that ultimately, until you admit who you truly are, how can we have peace of mind? So let's see if we can reverse engineer this. And they say, everyone, not everyone, but most of us are on opioids. Most of us are depressed. Most of us are unhappy. Most of us are upset. Just the huge numbers of fellow humans that commit suicide every year. Well, you're never going to have a rest from the badgering of the ego. You're never going to have a rest from the binge thinking. You're never going to find ultimate peace of mind until you remember who you ultimately are. And therein lies the magic bullet. And again, if you turn into the news today, what a day, huh? Tune into the news and you see all these different things that are distracting. Everything that they can do to pull your attention away from where it should be. All right, let's go ahead. See who we got here. Good evening. Welcome to All Natural Being. Who's this?
This is Henry, Brian. Good evening.
Henry, how are you, sir? How goes the adventure?
It's going. Let's put it that way. It's definitely an adventure. And I'm sorry about the quality of the call here. It's a cell phone, and I'm extremely mobile at the moment.
Good. Well, we encourage, even people on cell phones, we encourage everybody to call in. So that's great. I've been wondering how your trip was going and what you guys have been up to. And this evening, maybe you could comment a little bit. We've just been talking about all the distractions that keep us from realizing that we are the magic bullet, right? We are the magic bullet that we've been looking for. And that when you ultimately remember who you truly are, none of this distraction, none of the things offered up in an attempt to dissuade you from that memory, none of that really works, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't at all. And I think that's the whole premise of what we are in the middle of as humans. We are so in the middle of distractions and disinformation and misdirection that we actually, I really begin to wonder how much we really even know about ourselves, much less what really is actually going on, and the fact that there's only one person you can absolutely trust, and that's the one that you see in the mirror. Unless you learn how to trust it, know how to ask questions, know how to filter through the distractions, it is a jungle out there.
And as I've said, you've heard me say before, it's a jungle in here. Right? The binge thinking of our own mind, all these other things that are going on. But that if you're not happy with who you truly are, it's simply because, drum roll, right? It's simply because, let me try this real quick. Drum roll. Let me see if this works. Drum roll. You've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten who you are, right? So that I think most times when you come to grips with all the things that you're capable of, and you lose the distraction, we forget who we ultimately are, and that's what keeps us depressed. That's what keeps us sad. That's what keeps us looking outside of ourselves. But that again, if you're not happy with who you are, could it be that you've forgotten who you are?
And that's it. That's really it. I mean, children know who they are. There's no question about it. You watch kids, they really know who they are. They are just experimenting and testing and doing all the stuff that we should be doing. They're doing it. I guess maybe mine is sucking the thumb, but sometimes I'll think I'll even go to that if I have to. But there's a lot out there that we have forgotten who we are and who that we can trust us. Now, maybe not in the present state and the present form we're in at this point.
Okay.
We have a lot of trust we need to start to rebuild back up again, but we can't do that until we start to really know who we are, as you said, and we have to do that. I had an interesting conversation yesterday, actually, and we were talking about human nature versus ego. Mm-hmm. And my contention was there is no such thing as human nature. We've just kind of labeled it as human nature. But because of the way I look at what human nature is and how I want to define human nature, it would have to be an action or a reaction that every human would take in a certain situation, which that would then default, to me, classify it as an actual human reaction.
Okay.
But I've searched and searched and searched, spent all day yesterday and today looking through, trying to find that. And just in one difference at all, just culture. There's no humans alike, just in culture alone, on how we look at things, how we value things, what's important to us, what's not important to us. So I'm beginning to question now whether or not human nature really actually exists. And it's actually ego that has been mislabeled more acceptably. Well, we just chalk it up. The guy acted really horrible, and it's just human nature. That's just his nature.
Right,
so
and
that's an excuse.
I think it is an excuse, and I think that many of us are just plain worn down from getting in our own way. We're just we chop block ourselves. We habitually fall back. Let me say hello to Jen. Jen Durek, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. And we're talking about what it takes to be fate's nemesis, what it takes to ultimately remember who you truly are, because then fate was just like, whoa, I don't want to deal with that. It's kind of like in the old legend of a vampire. It doesn't want to mess with sunlight. And as you and I have talked about before, good evening, Laura. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. We've talked about it before. Almost like a vampire hates sunlight. It can't be exposed to sunlight because it's just deadly for it. It's kind of like you and I have never discussed eliminating the ego. We've just simply talked about illuminating the ego. And it's got to just wear us down to continue under the guise of human nature, where I believe it's just human potential. Our true human nature is just potential in waiting. As I said, and Nizherba commented on the other evening, potential just this side of infinity. But it's got to be tiresome to try to constantly. Good evening, Janice. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us on All Natural Being. It's just got to be tiring to continue to prop up a part of us that is as inauthentic as the ego. What do you think, Henry?
I think so. I think that that's where a large amount of the frustration that everyone faces is. It seems like you're in the middle of the forest. There's no way out. You can't see a clearing, and people are planting more trees around you as you're standing there, and it just gets more and more confusing. And then have somebody come in and spin you around a couple of times, and then say, "Here, go north." You're tripping over our own feet. We don't even know where to go for answers, much less being able to come up with the questions that we need to ask in order to find our way out. And you're right, we are hell-bent on trying to find our way out, but we have this propensity to try to find the easy way out. And it wasn't the easy way we got in here, and the sure heck isn't going to be the easy way we get out of it.
Right.
We have to work extremely, extremely hard at this, and we have to be committed to it. We have to understand that if I'm going to get better, if I'm going to see the truth, if I'm going to really find answers within me, I got to work at this. I mean, you're not going to build biceps by doing, finger exercises. That just doesn't work.
Sure.
And so we have to really focus on what the areas are we want to focus on and what we need to work on. I mean, to me, we have to illuminate the light, of course. But, I mean, where is the darkest place around a lighthouse?
Sure.
Right down to the base.
Absolutely. Let me say good evening to Sarah. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. I saw a picture up today where Sarah said it was over 100 degrees where she was. Yikes. Yeah. Talk about swimming pool weather. Like I need an excuse to go to the pool, right? But I say that, but, I burn instantly. Everyone else goes, oh, the swimming pool. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, I got a hat on. I can sit under an umbrella. I got, they'd let me into the pool with socks on. I'd probably get in fully dressed if I could. Which, in my history, Henry, you should know quickly that the doctors say, oh, you got to know you're subject to cancer. I'd really watch going out in that sunlight if I were you. Right, so I very diligently cover myself. I'll do everything I can to block the sun. And then a year later, they go, "Oh, you got to come to the hospital right away." And I go, "What's up?" And they go, "You're so deficient of vitamin D, we don't even know how you're still standing." And I go, "Wait a minute." So the one thing you told me to avoid was sunlight. Now that I did such a great job of listening to you, Well, I don't have any vitamin D left? And they go, no. And then when they get to the hospital, I go, so I have a vitamin D pill? And they say, yeah. And they give me this thing that looks like a package of certs or lifesavers. And I go, what's that? That's your vitamin D pill. You got to take one of those every day for the next 6 months. I'm like, oh, well, so much for avoiding the sunlight. But, you bring up an interesting point. Hey, Sarah, to you as well. Please tell everyone we said hello. You bring up an interesting point where people say to me all the time, oh, Brian, it's just normal. And they might very well be true, but and I think it's probably a function of language. But there is a huge chasm between normal and natural. Just because something is normal doesn't mean it's natural. Just because something is charted off as human nature doesn't mean it's natural. And it's that potential. And I'm beginning to believe that's what evil was, or is for that matter. I'm beginning to believe that anything that stands in the way, anything that attempts to squash or corral that potential is the definition of evil. And then, what was it Dante said? Oh, you possessed of a sturdy intellect, observe the teaching that is hidden here beneath the veils of things that obscure you. So, right, we learn all this stuff. We know all this stuff. We think we've come to know what's normal in our lives, but what's natural is obscured because, as you said, I thought of that during the lighthouse. As you said, when it comes to the lighthouse, the shadows are darkest right at the base of the building itself.
Exactly.
Mitzi, good evening. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. We're talking to the author, Henry Noel, who's calling in from the road. And you know what, Henry? We'll talk off air. About if I can tell what you're up to and what you're doing, because I don't want to be you know what I mean? So we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll announce that tomorrow night and let everyone know exactly what you're up to. Because it'd be my luck, I'd tell everybody, and then, I'll say something that I wasn't supposed to. So we'll just do it that way. All right, brother, any final thoughts before we leave about what we can do if we truly are worn down from getting in our own way? What's it? Come on, let's not beat around the bush. What's the one thing that we can do to remember who we ultimately are?
Oh, man. One thing.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many different directions that we can go with this, but, start trusting in yourself.
Okay.
Commit. Maybe there's the best way to go. Commit to changing. Commit to not going in with the same attitudes or going in with the same way we've lived our life. We put worship in ideas. We put worship in money. Money is an idea. Currency is an idea. It's not fact. It's just an idea. We put our faith and our trust in nationalism, and that's an idea. It's not a fact. It's just simply an idea. And if we can put that same trust, put that same faith, put all of that energy into us, rather than those things or ideas, we're taking some of the first steps in creating our own direction within which we want to travel, instead of the directions we have been traveling. I try to be very simplistic with a lot of things because it's very complicated to try to write about all this stuff. But bottom line is that you don't have a path. If you see it laid out in front of you, it's not yours.
It's not yours, right?
You create one with every step you take. And once you realize that everything we do, our professions, for most of us, our religions, our political, that was all taught to us. This was somebody else's idea we're following. And so if there's one thing, it's just take a good look in the mirror and realize how many of the thoughts are yours and how many of the thoughts are coming from what we've learned.
Oh, you know what it makes me think of then, Henry, is that we could say, before we let you go, the one thing is to learn to interrupt your interpretations.
Absolutely.
Right, just for a second, just so you see something going down, you go, oh, this is going down. So that's your interpretation. But if we take a deep breath, right, we talk all the time about the BEST acronym. Breathe in, exhale your name, scan your horizon, and then take action. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's about interrupting our interpretations. So if we see something, and for me, it's most notably the things that, what do they say? It gets my goat, right? Or things that I'm ready to go to guns. I'm ready to go to battle as soon as it hits. And what was very helpful for me is to learn that sense of the BEST acronym and just for a couple of seconds interrupting my current interpretation. Now, that doesn't mean ignoring it, right? Just deciding throwing the baby out with the bathwater and believing in something totally different. It just simply means that I'm going to take a time out. Whoa. Interrupt my interpretation and see, does that help me put my heart's highest priority top of my list? Exactly. Or does it cause me to put my heart in the back seat so that my ego can take over?
Exactly. I mean, is this what's happening, or is it my perception of what's happening?
Sure.
And if it's my perception, then let's take a real solid look at this. Is it really my perception, or is it the perception that I've been taught to perceive?
Well, it's kind of like
take the deep breath.
It's kind of like when you get a house and you automatically now someone says, "Oh, will you sign this with the housing authority?" Or what is it called? HOAs. What does that stand for? Housing Homeowners Association. Thank you.
Homeowners Association. Yeah.
Right. Right. That's where I first came up with the line that big government is in little minds. Big government isn't in Washington, D.C. Big government isn't in your state capitals. Try going to one of these homeowner association meetings, and you'll see the definition of big government pretty quick.
Oh, big time.
Right? And what
do you mean I can't have a vegetable garden in my front yard? What do you mean?
Right. Well, or any of the other things. Thank you, Janice, very much. I forgot to hit the button. Yeah. Janice just reminded me that I've been standing with the back shots on the whole time. Sorry about that, Janice. Thank you very much. So, but ultimately, we're all kind of, right? So you come and you say, oh, well, the housing authority, house association, homeowner association, you signed this, you didn't read the fine print. Well, another part of it is that it's kind of like what we signed up for. We're here. Life's all about our interpretation, right? That's the deal we signed up for. But until we learn to interrupt that interpretation and make sure that it ultimately serves us and not the ego, right? Not fate, but that it ultimately serves our destiny. Then life becomes a treasure hunt, right? The labyrinth is a treasure hunt, I would think. All right, we'll leave. How about some parting thoughts before we go?
Well, first, I just want to thank everybody for, again, putting up with me and listening. and please, partake, man. Jump on the phones and get in there and give Brian your 2 cents worth. Because that's what he deserves. I mean, he can use it. So it really would be helpful, and it really is encouraging to try to get the conversation back and forth. I'm much easier fielding questions than I am trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to say. So please jump in there, everybody.
Thank you, my
it's
friend.
open lines for you guys, and it really does help. So,
well, thank you very much.
All right.
All right, my friend. We'll travel safe, and I'll talk to you after. I'll talk to you afterwards, if not tomorrow. But thank you so very much for calling in, and we hope to see you soon.
My pleasure. Man. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, brother.
Everybody, have a great evening.
All right, man. Good night now.
Take care, brother.
All right, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about this sense of remembering who you ultimately are. And though it may be normal, that doesn't necessarily make it natural. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's your true potential. So ultimately, we can look at being our true potential. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can look at our true potential and go, there's nothing about us that was meant to be a pincushion. And when we talk about people, they say something, oh, it's insulting. Oh, it's outrageous. Oh, what did I see the other day? Oh, despicable was a word. Oh, derogatory. And I thought, can you really be the target of a derogatory comment if you don't buy into that comment? Right? Because derogatory is a function of the word degrade. Derogatory, right? Something that degrades. But how is it that words of another can degrade you without your permission? So, I've done this riff before where I say, look, there's an entire laundry list of things you can't use the A word, the B word, the C word. Don't even think of using that. The D word, E word. F, don't use the F word. G, yeah, I can think of one. H, I think I's okay. J, can't use the word J. K, maybe K's still safe, but I can't think of one right now. L, M, don't use the N word. O-P. That's why I always fall back on Mick. And I go, look, because I'm Irish, and because I believe that, I did this little thing last week. My friend Cal said she saw a T-shirt that said, a fun fact, I just don't care. So when I say to people, please, feel free to call me a Mick. Because apparently that's supposed to be a derogatory term. Apparently I'm supposed to run head-on in front of a tractor trailer playing kickball in the streets while carrying a pair of scissors because you called me a Mick. Right? So we have a whole list of words of things. I got, I for idiot. Yeah, I can't let that. Let's just keep I at least, please, can't we say? But maybe Sarah's right. Maybe we can't say I, although I do. You can't spell Brian without the I in idiot, right? But look at all the words we're not allowed to say because we don't want to offend anyone. We don't want anyone to be hurt. And is it really your position that the words, right, again, derogatory, how can they be derogatory without you buying in? How can it be derogatory without your permission? So let them say whatever they want. That's the definition of vapid. Let it go. I meant I for idiot. I know what you meant, sister. I know what you meant. But as I say, you can't spell Brian without the I in idiot. So maybe it's normal, but most certainly not natural. Maybe it's normal for us to be a pincushion. And I would just say, why do we continue to do that? Why do we care at all about the words of another person? Now, physical assaults, physical attacks, I guess that's a little different. But for the words of another, well, that's what Micks do. Never knew. Yeah, well, there you go. Now you know. Feel free to, for any Irish slander, please feel free to tell all your friends. 833-GO-BU. I'll put this back up. And then Janice will remind me if I forget to turn the camera off that. 833-GO-BU. 833-462-3968. Means nothing to me. And I'm with you, my friend. This is the way I feel about B, even C. Oh, okay. All right. And then everyone, right? Mitzi, even as you say that, people go, oh, I can fill in for B or C or D. And then all I'm saying is, oh, let me see. I'm an ex-cop, so you're welcome to call me whatever you like. Oh, I have a hair lip. A brain tumor survivor. I made the joke the other day that if I ever decide to get into politics, it's going to be cool because if I have to go up against politicians because of my 3 surgeries, at least they'll know I have a brain. So I'd like to think about that for a moment, that when people think that they're insulting us, it's only our interpretation of what they're saying that makes it an insult. And I just don't know why we buy into it anymore. I don't know why we would let the words of another hijack our head. I don't know why we'd let the spew. I don't know why we'd let the vitriol of another hijack our head. Take control of our cognitive cockpit. Why would we let that happen? Well, I guess a more direct answer is thinking, well, it's easy to do when you forget who you ultimately are. It's easy to do when you forget that instead of running yourself into the ground, busy defending yourself against other people's rhetoric, you go, you're welcome to call me anything you like, jerky. Right? I just don't. It doesn't matter to me. You think about it. From the 23rd Psalm, yea, though I walk through the valley shadow of death, I fear no evil, right? Say whatever you want. But I'm beginning to believe that everyone is so on edge. Talk all the time about hot heads wrapped in thin skin. Mitzi, I think you're absolutely right. If I could give that 100 thumbs up, I would. I think you're absolutely right. It's conditioning. We've been conditioned to do that. So maybe you and I, could we agree to uncondition each other? Feel free, really, to call me, to text. You can also text this number, 833-462-3968. 833-462-3968 or go be you. Call me anything you like. And maybe, as Henry was talking about earlier in terms of building biceps or, the progressive adaptation of any muscle, maybe if we just suffer the slings and arrows from time to time, we'll do it together. Just call me. You can call me a name, I'll call you a name, and then we'll just laugh, and then we'll go, yeah, that didn't sting at all. Right? Maybe that's what we ought to do. Maybe that's what I'll turn this line is. We should have a 1-800. Someone check for me. Can you get 1-800-INSULT? Oh, insults. Let's see if the plural's available. We'll call it 1-800-INSULTS. And then whenever you call in, we'll just trade them. And then when we're done, we'll laugh, thank each other for our time, and go, yeah, that didn't sting at all. That didn't get through. That's an inoculation. I built up a resistance to the rhetoric of all these pincushions running around, wanting to deputize me, wanting me to get in their network marketing program of pincushions. Oh, you want to join now? Oh, no. Join now. Get in early. Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe we should look. 1-800-INSULTS. And that'll be the show. We'll have a show, right? Remember Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin way back when on Saturday Night Live? When they would trade insults in the very beginning? Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe that's like a flu shot, or, you take a little bit of what it is that like snake venom, right? You take a little bit of snake venom so that if you're bit by the snake, or I guess the inverse would be after you're bitten by a snake, you take the snake venom to counteract it. Well, maybe we can counteract all this spew, right? Maybe we can counter. I can't tell you what I was thinking right there because the name popped into mind, and I only get in trouble, so I wasn't going to say spackle, right? In thinking of this and the amount of makeup, I wasn't just going to say spackle. I won't even say her name. I won't even. You see her on TV all the time, right? And she's so full of hatred. She's so full of vitriol. I'm just going to go, oh, there's Miss Spackle. She's on camera. Maybe that's what we should do, because it's not natural. It may be normal to be a pincushion, but it's not natural. And when we remember who we ultimately are, then life is in fact that. The labyrinth is a treasure hunt designed to bring the smile to your face, designed to allow you to call your heart's highest priority top of your list. And if we do that, who gets to touch us? Nobody. Let me see. Oh, Mitzi says, I have this reaction to snowflake. Okay, that's cool. Call me the C word, no problems. Call me snowflake. And I want to throat punch you. Mitzi, we got to hang out, you and me. We got to hang out, you and me. Mitzi, I know, right? And I have really good friends. I was reading this article today that kind of made me think about my situation about this. Did you see this about a guy running for, I believe it's Senate in Wisconsin, and he's a Republican and his whole family is Democrat, and now not only doesn't his family talk to him, not only don't they get to, the parents don't get to see their grandkids, not only, right, they just forget Thanksgiving and Christmas. They don't even bother sending cards. His family went ahead and donated the maximum amount that you can contribute in a political campaign, unless you're the Clintons. But other than that, the maximum amount that you can contribute to a political campaign to his opponent. I thought, wow. So you can just imagine, Mitzi, that snowflake moniker flying all over the place. And we got to hang out. On top of it all, no one has ever actually called me that, but I see it to others and I'm done. Yeah, you got to help me with that, Missy, because I saw this article the other day where someone says, oh, well, he said this or that, and I'm done. And I have to tell you, right, just because I feel bad about it, but I'm just trying to be helpful. I'll from time to time, I'll come on my personal Facebook page, and you'll have someone that will say, oh, well, if you believe in this, you might as well just unfriend me. And it's like a reflex action. I can't help it. I unfriend them automatically. Right? Because I've just never taken well to being threatened. People go, well, if you believe in flat earth, if you believe in round earth, if you believe in this, if you believe in that, if you blah, 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 well, you might as well just unfriend me, right? Ding! See ya! Ding! Oh, and can I unfollow them too? Ding, ding! It's not because I think they're bad people. It's not because I think I'm a bad guy. I just don't like being threatened. So something to think about. All right. Mitzi says, oh no, what? On top of it all, no one has ever actually called me that. Also, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. Brother Wallman, hope all is well. All right, we're talking about this evening as we get ready to wrap up. Let's see if we can take one more call. 833-462-3968, 833-462-3968, or 833-GO-BE-U, G-O-B-E. Well, I'll put it back up again. Go-B-U. And we're talking about what it takes What is this? Oh, look here. Puritanical absolutism is a virus we can't seem to shake. How do I get in and like that? We're talking about what it takes to refuse to be a pincushion, what it takes to be your own silver bullet, what it takes to realize that when you remember who you ultimately are, you really are unstoppable. You're untouchable. And when you remember that your potential. Ruthie, nice to see you. I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you? R. Hello from BB. I hope you're well. And we're talking about what it takes to finally be your own magic bullet, to finally have a life that just thrills you, to finally have an existence that makes your mouth water. Someone asked me the other day, well, why'd you do that? And I go, because I just had a freaking riot. I just had a blast. And it'd be no surprise to you all, right? Especially those who have been listening from time to time. Oh, Ruthie, howdy, who are you? Oh, I thought you said, how are you? Well, I'm doing great. Who am I? I'm still working on that. Applied to the local radio station today. It had to be the worst interview ever, I would imagine, for the poor guy. So I call the station director, and he goes, what's your resume? Well, I said, I really don't have one. What are you going to do this or you do that? And I go, yeah, no. I go, of all the people that have ever called for an interview, I'm like the least mechanically inclined when it comes to all things radio production. But I could cut the grass. I could shovel the sidewalk. I go, I'm not very good as a car mechanic, but I could wash them and vacuum them out once a week. You know, if you're interested, if you have a position that I could take, I could barter you for some of the expertise. I would just like to go and watch some of these people do a show and learn the board and learn taking calls and learn some of these other things. So I said, well, yeah, I know it doesn't seem like it's much of a resume, but let me know. I'll help out. I'll empty trash. Fly the flag up the pole in the morning, make sure it's down before sunset, that kind of thing. If there's anything I can do, I can go and get lunches for people. I can be a Sherpa. So stay tuned. I'll let you know how that goes. But I felt bad for the guy because the guy's got to be getting like resumes from really top-notch people that know what they're doing. And I go, yeah, I don't have a clue. Let me say this. I'll be very receptive. I'll be very eager. I'll be very excited about whatever information you can give me, whatever you can teach me. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So stay tuned. We'll see how that works out. So let's see. Mitzi just bought property in the country. Want to just go live in the woods. I know it. Grow food, make pottery, etc. Just get away. I know how you feel. All right, we're going to get ready to get out of here. If we want to try to take one more call before that happens. LOL, Sherpa. I know, right? I'll be a Sherpa, but here's what I'm thinking. If they agree to teach me, if they're like, okay, well, when I first started doing this not too long ago, I don't know if David Ray Bowman, a friend of mine, is listening, a big radio personality out on the West Coast. He would have to tell me he told me what fade meant. I remember one time I called and was talking to someone that said, well, how about their gain? And I go, yeah, I think we're gaining in numbers. I think we're climbing. I think we're into the 20, 30,000s, that kind of thing. He goes, no, not gain, your gain. I had no clue what gain was. Then they talked about, oh, well, where's your pad? And again, I'm a little bit of an older guy, so I thought, well, I live in New Albany. I live in Columbus, Ohio. Your pad, not your pad, not where do you live? What's the pad set on the board? So then I clearly realized that I have a lot to learn. So probably about 2 weeks ago, I was out driving around, and like 12 people just darted across the street in front of me. And so I pulled up and stopped, and I go, come on, go, don't run out in traffic. And I watched, and they all ran into this parking lot, and I looked over to my right, and it's a radio station. And I go, well, that's a sign. So here I am in flip-flops, shorts, T-shirt. I walk in and go, yes, well, I'd like to put myself in for a job interview. And God love her, the lady at the front desk was like, what? You're going to do what? I go, yes, I'm here to interview for a job. And she kind of stepped back and looked at me and went, why are you here? And I said, well, is there someone that I could talk to? I'd like to learn how to do this radio thing. Is there someone I could talk to? So in any event, I don't want to belabor the point. I would tune in. Well, thank you, Ruthie, very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. David, thank you for joining us. You're going to do a great job. Well, we'll see. Well, I know how to cut grass. Not really. I'm not very good with a lawnmower. I'm not allowed to shovel a lot of really heavy snow, but they tell me it's not going to snow here much. But I could wash cars. I could empty trash. I can handle the flagpole. I could answer. I could do like maybe nighttime security. Oh, that would be hard. I'd probably fall asleep in the car. You know what I mean? But there's got to be something that I can do that'll make it work. Ruthie, thank you very much. I'll let you know how that goes. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much. We'll be back tomorrow evening, which I guess is tomorrow what? Tomorrow's Tuesday? Is today only Wednesday? So we'll be back tomorrow with another episode, another adventure in being avidly you, which we call here All Natural Being. Thank you so very much for your comments. Thank you for all your support. Henry, thank you for calling in. And again, if you get a chance, don't forget, you can send us a text even after we get off air, 833-GO-BU. 833-GO-BU. Don't forget, my little troll here. We're repositioning some of the cameras and everything else, but I'll be showing you that in the days and weeks ahead. We're going to start having different video guests so that when we're here doing at least the Facebook Live post, we'll have video guests that come on and they'll be able to hang with us as well. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. We'll see you, we hope, we'll see you tomorrow evening. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your night. And tomorrow morning, remember, bring your heart's highest priority. Put it on the top of your list. Who the heck with those people around you that don't want it? Because they really don't want you smiling. They really don't want you happy. They really don't want to hear your primal scream, your wit, your inner wisdom front and center in your life. What are they doing running around with you anyways? Remember who you ultimately are. Be your own magic bullet. Tamara, nice to see you as always, my friend. Thank you for watching All Natural Being. Sarah, thank you so much. Hope you're keeping nice and cool. Please tell everybody there we said hello. We'll get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Thank you so very much for making All Natural Being a part of your evening.
IPMNation.com.